washed and Simonized her car every fall, and that she Simonized it after this event, but the shiny spots didn't go away. They just got brighter until sometime in the winter, which may have been December, January, or February, they just gradually faded away. It's so interesting that Kathy Martin, in talking to Betty, said that the United States Air Force publicly expressed no interest in this case, but privately at a sort of a party, that there were a couple of people who had Air Force affiliations who came up to talk with Betty and Barney, and what were they interested in? Specifically, the dollar-sized spots on the trunk of the car. And those men suggested informally that they might have something to do with sonar. But the Air Force never asked to inspect the car. No one ever inspected the car. And as Kathleen said, this now still remains a great mystery, that nobody ever investigated, those particular pieces of physical evidence. Now, when Kathleen, in summary, when I said, what do you think is the strongest evidence from all this meticulous research that you have done, looking back at your aunt and uncle's life, what is the strongest evidence that non-humans did physically take them from that road in New Hampshire, September 19th to 20th, 1961? And she said it was going over and comparing Betty's hypnosis, Barney's hypnosis, and finding how much they were reinforcing each other, even though they were completely separate hypnosis sessions done with a professional. And there is another interesting aspect to this. There were pink spots on this dress, in addition to the odd tears. And only recently was Kathleen Martin able to get the Betty and Barney Hill dress that had remained preserved all these years to Phyllis Budinger, an analytical chemist from Ohio. Now, this pink powdery substance, according to Phyllis Budinger, was only in the areas that would make sense if fingers had grabbed the dress. And there was, interestingly, a high level of bacteria only on the pink powdery substance areas, while the bacteria was low in all the other areas of the dress. That is another mystery. It took decades to do that examination, but it's another one of those odd data points. And this comes down to now the star map. When Betty and Barney Hill had gotten home, and it took till 1964 for them to do that hypnosis session, and she drew under hypnosis, and you can see all of these drawings and comparisons to star maps at earthfiles.com. At that time, no one knew what it was, and it was an amateur astronomer named Marjorie Fish who took great interest in this and decided that she would see, in studying what was known about the local suns around in our neighborhood of the Milky Way galaxy, could she find anything that would come close to matching what Betty Hill had drawn under hypnosis. And today we know that there is a pattern of stars, largely yellow suns like our sun, in an area where Zeta Reticuli 1 and 2, a binary star system, very far separated binary star system, surrounded by Tau Ceti and Gliese 1 and Epsilon Eridani and other suns that seem to match very closely to what Betty Hill, who knew nothing about astronomy, drew. And when you go to earthfiles.com and you compare what a computer generates about that part of our Milky Way galaxy, our surrounding neighborhood, and you compare it to a known star astronomical map of that area and what Marjorie Fish did, and then look at Betty Hill's drawing, it is amazing how close it is. And we know that government insiders have suggested over the last 20 to 30 years that Zeta Reticuli 1 and 2 might be at least a base of something that we would consider to be non-human.
Unbelievable, Linda. One of the best I've heard. Stay with us.